Alright, boys and ghouls, we are on the final Critters film. Because, again, there's an 8-episode miniseries that debuted on Shudder a few years ago, but now it's not on Shudder. So now I don't know where to find it. So at least this is the last of the films. And Critters 5, or Critters Attack, which is the actual title for this. This is a made-for-TV reboot of the franchise. So we have Dee Wallace in here, who's playing the same character as the original movie, but like the name's different, I read, because they wanted to avoid like legal issues. Now, I tried watching this movie twice. I woke up randomly 3 a.m. or so. Twice tried watching this, and both times fell asleep. Like 20 minutes in. But I was enjoying what I was watching, so let's fully watch Critters Attack, the 5th and final Critters movie. Yeah, so the very opening scene of this movie is not bad. It's actually pretty good. There's some kid, just like in the first movie, and he's watching with a telescope, and then he sees the Critters spaceship go flying through the air and crash. And he says to his sister Drea, who is the main character here, and she says it's probably nothing, go back to bed. Then some guy who's playing Charlie's role, even that's the only thing that sucks about it being a reimagining or a reboot here, is we don't have Charlie's character, we don't have Don Hopper. So this guy sees the thing crash, and he goes to check the site out where it crashed, and then you see the red glowing eyes of the critter, looks really cool, and then he just gets dragged off screen, and then Critters, the title card comes up. It's cool. So Drea, the main character, and her brother Philip, he was the one that was looking through the telescope the night before and saw the spaceship, and he like already believes in aliens, so he's like a kind of an alien nut. They're living with their Uncle Lewis. I don't know what happened to their parents. Like, I don't know if they even say it or if I just completely missed it. Doesn't matter. She's pissed off that she didn't get into her college of choice, which her best friend got into, when this is her second time scrubbing out, getting into Leroy, I think, college. So she's all pissed off. Uncle Lewis gives her a little pep talk. So then we see the aunt, which is Dee Wallace, so Aunt Dee. She goes and she has this like hidden compartment behind one of the walls that turns into like a safe room, and it has like computers and locators for the Krites. So apparently this is like a soft reboot, because this is the same character she plays in the original. So she's been through a critter invasion before. Obviously she has this whole room dedicated to destroying them if they ever come back. And she even said, she goes, Krites. And then we get a scene here. This is already better than everything in Critters 4. That body that was attacked the night before, who went to check out the UFO, you see the critters start bursting out of its chest alien style, but the little critters are bursting out. The effects look pretty damn good. Like for a TV movie, very good. And then you see a bunch of them pop out of his chest, and they're Sonic the Hedgehog rolling around and stuff. The puppetry looks really good. So Drea works as a delivery girl for some restaurant, and the kid who had the critters burst out his chest, who found them, like when they crashed, he also worked for the same restaurant. So this kid was a delivery boy, and he ended up seeing the spaceship. So don't work at this place. Then we go right to a little bit of stupidity here. It's funny a little at the very beginning of this gag. She goes to deliver something to the college that she's been denied from twice. And she knows the guy, the security dude. He's like a young guy. He's one of the security people for the college. And he has all the keys. And he says, did you listen to the tape? So he made her a tape. So she makes this whole excuse that she should have it in the player. It's not. She ends up putting it in, and it's just terrible bagpipe music. And she's trying to listen to it and not make like a disgusted face. Then that's all right. Like, that's funny. But then he literally goes into the security booth and pulls out his bagpipes, and he goes... Then it just gets a little stupid. So it sucks. This girl's constantly reminded that she can't get into this school. And it means a lot to her also, because her mother, who's not around anymore, assumedly she died, went to the same college. And she has like a picture of her on the stairs while she's parked, looking at the exact stairs that her mom's the picture of. It's kind of funny, even though it is very sad. And then her friend, she goes and gives this delivery, and she meets her old best friend, who they had like a pact of going to this school together, and the friend got in, she didn't. Everything is a reminder to her that she didn't make it into the school. It's like, you feel bad for her character. Oh, that's right. All right. I kind of remember this from when I was falling asleep watching this morning. Her friend ends up giving her like contact information for this woman who's on like the board of directors for the school who needs a babysitter. And figures, here, if you take the job and babysit her kids, then maybe that'll help you get into the school. So she ends up taking this babysitting job. And then we get a scene when the critters kill these campers. Already, at like 20 minutes into this movie, it is so much better than Critters 4. Like, so much better. At least there's already been critter attacks, too. And they both look pretty good. Like this one, the guy just gets bit on the shoulder and then they get dragged away again. But the puppetry looks good. The critters look really good. They look spooky again. So she goes to babysit the kids of the whoever she is on the board of directors or whatever for the school. And she takes her brother Philip because like Philip knows the daughter somehow, I guess through school. And he likes her. And these kids, what fucking weird children. Like, she's very, very smart, the daughter, but, like, she doesn't want to, like, do anything. And then the kid, the son, the mom says before she leaves that he just communicates through text. So, like, he won't talk to you unless you're, like, communicating with him via some type of text on some type of social media device or a text message. It's very strange. I gotta say, though, the main chick who plays Drea, I like her. I like the character. She has some funny lines here. Even though the children are kind of annoying at first, they have charm to them too. So the four of them end up going on a picnic, and they start wandering outside, and then they start hearing some noises out there in the woods, and they don't know what it is. Just like most of the characters and pretty much all of these tiny terrors subgenre of horror, no one seems alarmed when they discover an unknown creature that they've never seen before and knows shouldn't exist, but somehow is there. They just decide to take it home with them. So if you guessed the sounds that they heard in the woods was a critter, ding ding, you're right. They're white now for some reason. I'm guessing it's just this one because we saw one or two earlier, and then the few that popped out of the guy's stomach. They were all black. Maybe they're diversifying the critters. But he looks cool. He has mostly white fur, but he has a little bit of black fur. And then the girl, I don't know her name, man. Just the daughter of the board of directors. She's like, we have to bring it back with us. She's hurt. And Drea's like, no, there's no way. It's a wild animal. And of course, they end up bringing this thing back. And they put it in the backpack. And they're carrying it. It's fun. This is a really cool scene. So they end up going to a ranger station in the woods, in the park that they're in, to try to have this animal identified, this white critter. And when they go and knock on the door, all the people that are in that ranger station, they're being currently eaten by critters. And there's blood everywhere. And they're like all being eaten. It looks very, very good. So Aunt Dee Wallace, she heads out to go take care of the critter problem. The rest of the kids, after they stop at the sheriff, park ranger place, they don't get an answer, but the critters, a few of them see that they have one of their critters, the white one, in their backpack. So some of them start following them. Then we get an awesome kill with this construction guy who's just like chilling on a pole. And then the critters are Sonic Hedgehogging their way in, and they all start biting and tearing this guy apart. So they end up naming this thing Bianca. That's what they call their little pet critter, is Bianca. Snowball was Drea's pitch. I'm more on board with Snowball. Bianca? I mean, whatever. Too smart for her own good, stupid daughter is the one who picked that name. Then it's absolutely hilarious that the son that they're watching, who won't talk unless it's through text messaging, he finally opens his mouth when a critter appears and bites his leg. He screams like a fucking baby. He finally has some dialogue. So we find out what happened to Drea and Philip, I think, right? The brother? Their mother. She was in a car accident, and Drea blames herself because she snuck out to a party and her mom was driving to go get her and she got in an accident and died. I mean, whatever. I really don't care. It's not something that I'm heavily invested in this movie. But they felt they had to throw that in there to make a little connection between Philip and the daughter and like their little like blossoming romance. So then Dee Wallace shows up to the wooded area where they found Bianca. I'm just calling her Snowball. You saw the pictures already. Come on, Snowball is much better than Bianca. I don't know what crack that kid's smoking. Whatever kind, it's probably why she never shuts up. It's funny, the way that Dee Wallace is all dressed and everything, like she's like a bounty hunter, just like Uggan Lee from the early movies in this franchise. But she looks like a slightly older version of the android from Jason X. Like, if you put them side by side, which I'll probably do for this, they look just like each other. Just she looks a lot older. Alright, so I don't really know exactly what the fuck just happened in this last scene, but it looked really cool. Uncle Lewis, the sheriff, he's in his car, and the critters are trying to attack him, and he's, blocked himself off inside the car. And then he hits the siren button, and the sirens go on, and then he looks to the right, and there's a critter on the mailbox. And then he sees that it's shaking, and then he hits the siren button again, and it stops. Then he hits the siren button again, and he starts shaking again. And it shakes so much, the critter just explodes in a bunch of green shit. It's a great explosion. What made that critter explode? Fuck if I know, but I mean, the effects, it looks great. So Drea and the kids, they're all held up at the restaurant she works at with the Asian owner. And Uncle Lewis, the sheriff, who was just having a confrontation with the critters and saw one explode for no reason whatsoever, he ends up like crashing into something right outside, and Drea comes out, and in his dying breath he tells them they can't handle sound. So in this movie, apparently, like high pitched, very loud sound will kill the critters. And now I just thought of the bagpipe guy from earlier. I swear to God, this movie's doing alright. If it brings that bagpipe thing into existence to kill the critters, that this guy starts playing his bagpipes and they all start exploding, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Whew, God, thank critter. Because then, like a scene later, you hear bagpipes. And I was saying, God, please don't do this to me. And they end up going closer to the bagpipes. And it's the kid that she knows who plays them. But he's dead already. And there's a critter that's munching on him. And it's making the bagpipes make a sound. Which, shouldn't that sound be hurting the critter? Like, according to Uncle Lewis? None of that makes sense. At least he's dead, so we know we're not going to get that ending. So now they're at the college. And they meet up with Drea's friend that, they had this dream to go to this college together, and her friend made it, she didn't. And this other dickhead guy, and like they broadened the group a bit here. So I'm guessing just for more kills for the last 20 minutes of this movie. So the dicky-headed guy, he ends up running outside, acting like, yeah, I got this. And we get a critter ball. It's the first one that we've seen, and the only one that we've seen since part 2. And it doesn't look bad. The effects don't look, amazing or anything. The way that they shoot it, though, for the budget that this had, which I can't imagine how big the budget was for this movie, looks pretty good. And it's cool just to see a critter ball again. But that critter ball, it absolutely annihilates that guy. Just crunches over him, and then the rest of them, they were watching, including the younger kids. So she's like, I'm sorry you had to see that. We got to get to your mom's office. Sorry you had to see that. I'm so sorry. She's apologizing profusely. It's hysterical. So they're getting chased by the critters. They get on the football field, and then there's a shack, and then the girl Drea remembers the thing about the sound, and they grab an air horn, and they start using it, and it's affecting the critters. And then we get a shot that looks terrible here. This is the only shot that I've seen so far in this movie that the effects just look awful. They're rolling on the ground like Sonic the Hedgehog, and there's a bunch of them rolling towards them, but it's done with some type of CGI, and it looks awful. It looks so bad. So then Snowball, or Bianca, claws start growing. She's like a Pokemon evolving to the next level. And then there's a whole 2-3 minute sequence. It's ridiculous. Of them all just beating critter balls and critters with shovels and other utensils. It looks ridiculous, but it's fun. So then Dee Wallace shows up for some reason, I mean, she didn't really even have to show up here. They go through the school like one last sweep. She kills a few critters, and then the critter ball is all that's left. And then she says, stand back, and she gives Drea a little ray gun or whatever she uses too. So the two of them shoot this critter ball, and it just explodes. Green shit goes all over the place, flies all over them. And then the brother gets his smart-ass little line to end this movie where he whispers to Drea, I told you aliens are real. And she gives him a look like, screw you. And then it ends. Let me say this. This is the best Critters movie since Critters 2. Without a doubt. This is so much better. Compared to Critters 4, this is a goddamn masterpiece. Compared to Critters 3, this is just an excellent film. Now, like, on a non-Critter scale, like, I would never really watch this movie again. It doesn't great, but it's entertaining. I would say definitely just watch Critters 1 and 2, and then this movie. This movie, the characters were pretty fun. The gore was decent. It was pretty bloody, this movie. Like, the effects look good. The puppets look good. The critters look pretty spooky. There's not really anything negative I can say about this movie, especially coming off the last two. But for a fifth movie and a reboot, this is a great reboot because this series needed one after the last two movies. So, Critters 5 or Critters Attack. It's alright in my book. We have Tourist Trap tonight at 10 p.m. on the channel. We got a whole panel. It's going to be a fun watch. So I will see you guys there. Take care, everybody.